Hello, my name is Aaron Wall, and this is an SEO video about web directories. I've made a few posts about submitting to web directories in the past, and a lot of people say directories are dead or they don't matter, and a lot of people are like, oh, they still matter a lot. And generally, the advice usually is determined based on the business model of the person doing stuff. Some directories still help out a lot, and some of them are worthless though, and I'll kind of try to help you see the difference between them. First, this is a post from SEO book from a while ago called Web Directories Are They Relevant to SEO, where I basically, everything I'm going to talk about now is, most of it's discussed here. So some of the things to look for is if a directory is ranking in the search results, then it has a good chance of sending you traffic. Direct links tend to count more often than ones that run through some sort of redirect. Some redirected links count, but not all of them do. Frequently crawled sites tend to be trusted more than ones that aren't well crawled very often. And then if sites that mostly list garbage sites in them probably are not going to be able to, eventually they're not going to be able to pass votes. Eventually they're going to lose their trust in the search engines. If the directory doesn't provide value to the search engines and mostly provides noise by voting for junky websites, then eventually the search engines are going to either stop counting that site, the votes from that site, or the votes from that site are going to count less. The ad ratio is also important because that sort of deals with like the quality ratio. If the thing's overrun with ads or they only accept listings if people pay for them, then most of the listings are going to be of lower quality. And also if they sell site-wide outbound links, usually that's a bad sign. Directories that have a lot of broken links, that's bad. If it's a DMouse clone or doesn't have any unique content, that's bad. And then you want to list where you're relevant because that's more likely to drive traffic and it offers a better risk-to-reward ratio. And here's some of the top rated directories based on some of their inbound links from .edu and .gov websites. And those links tend to count probably more on average than the average .com type link does because they're typically better integrated into the web and for more trusted websites. And you can see that the top couple directories have a lot of links, and then the links tend to fall off rather quickly. So the top few directories end up counting a lot more than a lot of the lower ones. And there's a number of reasons for it. Largely, the directory business model isn't that scalable because you have to hire humans to do it. And part of why search beat out directories is that the ads offer variable pricing in an auction-driven medium it's a far more efficient model, and it doesn't require so many human editors to scale out the service of a search engine. So here's a couple directories that everyone should consider submitting to. The Open Directory Project is a free directory. They may not accept your site, and it might take a while to get listed, even if they do accept it, because it's all editorially ran by free editors. They're a bunch of volunteers. You can also volunteer to edit your topic, but try to make sure that you look like you want to edit the topic because you love it, not because you're trying to promote your website. The Yahoo directory costs $300 per year. It's at dir.yahoo.com. And it is another well-trusted link. Since it's ran by a large search engine or search-related company and they have editorial review policies, a vote from here probably counts pretty well. Business.com is another trusted link. It's right now about $200 per year. Sometimes they change this price point though. I've seen it go from $99 to $299 back to $199 inside of like a month, I think, at one point in time. Business.com also lets you sometimes list multi-sublinks with your listing. So you can highlight some of the most profitable or most important pages in your website. So these are ads from Google. I just searched here, but a lot of the listings, if you drill down in the categories, you can see that a lot of the listings have the multi-links. So you go to whatever category it fits you. Let's say you sell credit card readers. So a lot of these listings will have multiple links, and the multiple links will allow them to pass link equity and anchor text to some of the more important pages in the site. Okay, now a lot of people created directories of directories or lists of directories. Here's one, the strongest links. Bob Much at SEO Company created one, and I'm just as guilty as everyone else. Back in the day, I created a directory of directories, but ultimately, the directory model ended up losing out to the search model as far as efficiency, and then there's other things that also went into play. But most directories that are made tend to be of low quality, and part of that is because you can already get a pretty strong, pretty high quality link list by just going to a search engine, and there's other ways that a person could be more authoritative when they talk about topics. So since a lot of directories, especially outside the top couple, tend to not be able to get too many good links because they can't get too many quality inbound links because they're not that remarkable. Link lists are no longer that interesting unless they add more than just a sentence or two that a directory offers. It needs to offer a longer description, why the editor likes it, and that sort of thing. It needs to be more opinionated, more well researched than what a regular directory is, more topical and interesting than just, here's these 15 links to companies in this space. So a directory, if it can't get many quality inbound links and it tries marketing hard, a lot of the links they end up getting are of lower quality from the nether regions of the web. And so eventually, as Google and other engines get better at filtering out the nether regions, then they're going to pass less link authority. By the same token, since they don't have a lot of the directories don't have a lot of capital, and it's such an inefficient business model, a lot of them don't hire editors to add too many quality sites. So if there's few quality sites listed, most of the listings are only paid listings. Odds are that those are going to be of lower quality in nature than the average site on the web that may not be the average quality site that may not be listed because they didn't add it because they didn't have editors, and those AT&T and T and SBC, the large phone companies, Verizon, they're not going to be submitting their websites to directories most likely. So if you're in a bunch of IT telephony type uh, categories where most of the sites that are listed are really oddball players, then it's not necessarily going to be as good as if you can get co-citation with the major players in your field. So here's a search result of a site of a directory I think that's in pretty good shape. Another one on top of those first three I mentioned. And there's a couple other ones I would also say are really worth doing, but Joanne, notice that they got about 120,000 pages in Google, and notice as you scroll through here that you don't really see that these are in the supplemental search results or anything like that. They're all just listed, all those category pages. And on that first post I did, these ones I linked at DMAS, the Yahoo directory, business.com, Best of the Web, Joant, Gimpsy, Uncover the Net. I definitely would consider submitting to those, and then maybe some of the other ones, but I'll show you some other ways to look at the signs of quality as you go to directories. Pretty much anytime that they say price for link, like Caesar does here, it's not going to be probably a very good sign. Um, because it's going to attract probably the wrong type of customers, the people that are just looking to SEO, just looking to optimize, not those trying to buy exposure at all. And a lot of the more legitimate businesses might not list in some of these types of directories. And then another thing that happens is if most of the listings aren't of high quality, um, then what ends up happening is the search engines crawl shallower and shallower. So maybe they'll crawl the homepage pretty often, and then maybe they'll crawl families, and then maybe they'll crawl babies pretty often. But then over time, if they don't like what they're seeing, then they crawl this less often, then they crawl that less often, and the site gets crawled shallower and shallower. And if a page isn't getting crawled often, then odds are that page isn't counting too much as far as relevancy. Here's another directory that's kind of interesting. It's a $3 auto search engine friendly link directory. If they say that it's automatic, that's the complete opposite of what you want because there's no editorial thing there. So eventually it's going to get spammed to bits and then it's going to have no value. It's just if you price yourself at next to nothing or you make it easy for people to spam you and there is real value to where you are, eventually your stuff's going to go to having low or no value. And then when you look at the anchor text here, you go to a category that would be kind of spammy, home, business loans, and you look and you see future car finance might be a decent one. That's their real name. But then you come to these mortgageseek.com and it's mortgage refinance. And then you look at some of these and right here, WSF or WFS is bad credit personal loan. So if they allow the anchor text to be that far off and it doesn't even contain the company's name, that's probably a bad sign for the quality of the directory. Um, and eventually it's probably going to stop passing link equity even if it passes it now. Tygo, here's another example of a directory that's got some problems. Like if you're reading this just steam baths, reading, and then you start a next sentence and it cuts off not only in the middle of the sentence but in the middle of a word. Well, if it looks like it's auto-generated, if it doesn't look like it's editorial, it's probably not going to count a lot. And another thing, if you come down into these category pages, a lot of these subcategory pages have these really complex URLs and probably aren't going to get indexed if they're not on this page. Quango is an older directory, but it has some issues too. Like, let's say you come down here into television. You look and you see all these empty categories. Here, almost all these categories are empty. Well, if they don't add any editorial listings, then odds are there's going to be issues where search engines aren't going to want to crawl all these empty pages and they're going to get hit by duplicate content filters and stop getting crawled. So in order for a directory to get crawled and stay crawled deeply, they have to have some listings on all the pages. And then some directories have PageRank issues where they don't show PageRank at all. And keep in mind, some of them that do show PageRank still may not pass link authority, especially if they're not crawled frequently. And a couple of the reasons that link lists are less important and less interesting than they used to be is now search engines are pretty relevant, but in addition, Yahoo and Google both allow you to create custom search engines or topical search engines that are biased towards sites you like. And then um, in addition to that, there's also social bookmarking sites that kind of act as directories. But instead of getting, say, a list of 25 websites in some category, here you get one of the most popular recent things where some entrepreneur apps, and for each one it goes through, and rather than a sentence, you get a paragraph or a couple paragraphs of why people think it's important. So social bookmarking is another thing that's eating away at the value of general directories. And then StumbleUpon's another site. Not only does it have the social elements like that, but you can connect with friends just like you can with some of the other social bookmarking sites, so I can see what some of my friends think are interesting. In addition to that, the StumbleUpon data can be included in the search results. And Google also has an extension called, like I believe, Blogger Web Comments. And for any website, I can go to the website here, and rather than just seeing, the vanilla version of what some editor thinks of something, I can see comments about what a bunch of, random bloggers or whatever think recently about dealing with a particular company. If nobody's talking about it, that's a bad sign, or if people are only saying bad things, that's a bad sign. And some directories will only let you use specific anchor text and are really picky about what category they'll let you choose. Others have a bit of slack in it. I also wrote another post called Yahoo Directory Registration and Search Engine Marketing, which talked about some of the more creative ways you can get a bit more out of your listing. Like, for example, let's say your name was PayPal. Rather than having your logo say PayPal, it could be like PayPal Payment Solutions, and you can put Payment Solutions next to it. And then in your page title, put PayPal Payment Solutions. Then when you list it, you get Payment Solutions in your anchor text of that trusted link. And also you should pick your categories based on, A, am I relevant enough to list there, and B, what kind of co-citation am I getting? If I'm going to list next to other trusted sites in my category, that's a lot better than if I'm listing in a category full of sites that aren't that related to my site. So I believe that's about it. Oh, and two more spots there's a few more spots you can find directories. Internet Search Engine Database also has a bunch of directories on it. Uh, Search Engine Guide, if you go to their homepage and then you click Internet Search Engines, they have a directory here of search engine directories. You can go to DMOZ, scroll down to whatever topic, computer software directories, and here's a bunch of computer software directories. Um, and also you can just search the search engines. If you search for your topic plus directories and it's ranking in the search engine, that's a good sign. Or if it's just ranking for general queries that don't even include directory, that's a great sign too. And maybe some of those places are spots worth listing.